Hi, welcome to part 3. Your host remains the same as it was in part 1 and part 2, so there's no need for a reintroduction. I'm still stuck doing this video presentation on the upgraded, hacked or modded single bay NAS hard drive from Western Digital, my book World Edition White Light, which has been fitted with a 3TB model from the default factory installed 1TB model. As I mentioned towards the very least end of part 2, during this entire time of this presentation in this video, or in this later ones, depending on how many parts there will be, I'll be leaving this drive in this condition as you can see here. So pretty much bare naked without this front plastic covering. The reason for that is that when I'll be accessing the drive and showing the various features of thereof through the graphic user interface, at some time or a couple of times I'll be tilting the camera so that you'll be able to see the model number and other information that are printed on the label on the drive, so that you'll be able to see that it's still the same drive, it's not hacked, modified, it is as it was mentioned throughout both parts, that this is a unique model, a 3TB you could say, even though of course Western Digital only issued a 1 and a 2TB model. Again, for your reference, the hard drive is still the same. I of course put everything back together from part 2. You can pause the video at any time and recheck or compare the numbers from part 2 if you wish. Okay. Let's just push this back inside. Well, I'm actually hoping I'll be able to squeeze the entire presentation under one roof or under one recording, because in general this is going to be a two-part presentation. In the first part, I'll be connecting this drive directly to the laptop that I have currently sitting on my right, which you'll see in a couple of moments, via the Ethernet port, and showing you where it pops up, how you can access it, or immediately, for instance, start copying files onto it, and some basic features. And then in the second part of the video, I'm going to be disconnecting it, of course, naturally, and connecting it to my router, which is, of course, then hooked up to the internet. And this will be done through this Ethernet cable right here. And I'll be accessing the drive again, of course, through this laptop wirelessly, and showing you a little bit more on the additional functions that it has and how you can set it up to start using it for either personal or, of course, business use. So probably now it's time that I show you the equipment I'll be using for this video presentation. Alright, let's take the camera in my hand. Alright, now this is, alright, camera focus. Alright, now this is the laptop that I'll be using. It's a Dell Vostro A860 model, quite old one, but still reliable. Plugged into the AC power, unfortunately. That's my trusty wireless mouse, the AC adapter, and the AC extension cable, which is then, of course, plugged into the AC wall socket. Even though I have a battery inside the laptop, it's actually malfunctioning, so I'm stuck using the AC power, but nevertheless. And of course, here you have the DC power adapter, with which I'll be powering the actual NAS drive itself. So in a couple of moments I'll be showing you how to hook everything up, and then we'll switch to the laptop monitor to see how everything goes. Now we will be attaching or powering up the NAS drive itself, of course attaching this end of the power cable into the DC jack port. Alright, and then we start by connecting the Ethernet cable. One side goes into the Ethernet port of the enclosure or the controller board. And then, of course, the other side will go into the Ethernet port of the laptop. I'm going to leave the drive just a little bit so that you'll see the drive activity starting to work, or the night rider, as you might want to call it. And then afterwards I'm going to move the drive into the same viewing angle as the laptop is, and we'll then continue on. There you go. It's already starting to work. When I plugged in the power into the power port, you already probably heard that unique sound of the drive powering up, or the servo motor on which the plates are mounted. So now I'm just going to move everything into place. The sun went somewhere or hid behind the cloud, so the lighting has changed a little bit in this room. Hope that doesn't bother you too much. So after I have connected the NAS drive to the Ethernet port of the laptop, probably takes about a minute or two to become accessible. And where you can find it, well, first this is Windows Vista, Home Basic 32-bit operating system, and you can find it under Network. So we're just going to open it up. Now this icon will be your focus of interest, but first we're just going to right click on this one, Properties, and we'll minimize this and move the window much more center. The model number, this is the confirmation what I've been saying throughout part 1 and part 2, that the enclosure itself is a 1 terabyte model, but of course the actual fitted hard drive inside is a 3 terabyte in capacity, and this is the IP address of the web administration through which you will be accessing your NAS hard drive, making various changes. And there you'll find, besides the 9 languages through which you can make the entire experience much more user-friendly, you will also have 3 possible submenus through which you'll be able to change NAS drive specific functions. And of course here you have the serial number again and the IP address. At this point I would like to also bring up to your attention that while you're connected in this way, NAS drive to laptop, also desktop computer, via the Ethernet cable, this IP address, or this one of course here, might differ from your example or your experience. This is how it works in my case. I suspect that this IP address is a sort of a default one, so regardless whether someone is testing this NAS drive in another part of the world, or you're doing it in Europe or elsewhere, probably this IP address is going to be the same when you're connected in this mode. However, of course, I could be wrong. That's why I said you have to go to Network, find this icon or the other one, and check the IP address while you're at this stage. Let's say that you wanted to start copying your files immediately when you have connected the NAS drive in this mode that it is right now. How would you go about it? Let's say that you're too impatient to even visit the administration webpage, even though that of course is not ill-advised, but nevertheless, let's say that you're that much in a hurry, you just want to transfer some files onto your NAS drive, how would you proceed? Well, all we need to know is, at this stage, is this IP address. We're going to copy it, and we're going to go to Computer, right-click it, and select Map Network Drive in the menu. For the point of this presentation, I'm going to leave the drive letter as it is. You can also change it now, or also when you have already connected your NAS drive through its folder or a series of folders. But we'll leave it for now because the most important part is that we get this example how it should be connected right. So we paste in the address. Before we add the folder that we want to mount, so it will be accessible under computer or my computer, there's something I should explain. The root of the drive in general has two folders if you set it up right away, and that is download and public. Later on, when you will add new folders, they will be located in the same directory as download and public are. So currently the only two folders that you can mount are download and public. So we're going to mount both folders so that they will be accessible through the computer. So this is the first one, but I'm going to copy this part of the address so I don't have to copy everything else. Perfect, there you go. The download folder is mounted. I'm going to close it. And again, go through the same procedure. You see the drive letter has changed. And now we're going to mount the public folder. And now we see a series of subfolders. I already made another folder right here, so now as you can see it's about almost 6 gigabytes in size. In your case, you only will have these 3 folders and they will all be empty. Yeah. I can add another note here that if you will be copying your files into the public folder or download folder, but I would pretty much more suggest public, as the name says, public meaning that the files that will be stored under that folder or its subfolders, it will be widely accessible to anyone who will be logged onto your network. So it is very important that you, of course, create other root folders and set the appropriate credentials, and therefore limiting access to unwanted guests on your network. At this point, I can already give you the first version or the first confirmation that this is a working 3 terabyte upgrade or model for that matter. And how do I show you this? I just simply go to computer. And let's move the window more closely to the center. And here you can see it under, of course, total size and free space for both folders, even though they are located on the same drive, that this is a working 3 terabyte model. You have to take into account that, if I haven't mentioned it already, that the operating system, because this NAS drive has an onboard operating system, that the latter is located not on, let's say, the cache or the RAM chip that I've showed you in part 2, but it is located on the hard drive itself. The hard drive has a couple of partitions Linux partitions on it. I think one is swap, and then are, I don't know, 2 or 3 ext3 type Linux partitions. So that is why you don't see, here 3 terabytes in total size, because some of the space is used up by the operating system and it's allotted partitions. Again, I can show you that the hard drive is still the same one. You can double check the numbers if you wish and compare it to or with part 2 of this video presentation. It's still the same one. I'll probably put the drive in this position. So the drive is still the same one. I haven't changed it or swapped it or made some sort of modifications or hacks. So this is real stuff, in short. It is also worthwhile mentioning that under the current setting or the type of connection that we have established in this first part of the presentation, ergo NAS drive laptop connected through the Ethernet cable, that when you will connect your drive ultimately or in the end to your wireless or wired router, which is then of course connected to your modem, or either both devices are the same box, that this IP address will no longer apply, meaning that you'll have to disconnect these 2 folders and then repeat the entire procedure. But of course you will find the correct IP address that the DHCP has given to this NAS drive. As I have mentioned previously, you'll simply go to network, you'll find those 2 icons, right click on them, properties, and you'll see what is the correct IP address that corresponds to your local area network subnetwork. The next icon that we'll be looking at has the same name, MyBook World, but a different picture or icon style. So we're just going to close this one, open up network, and this is the one that we'll be looking at. Right click, properties. We minimize this again. So what is this thing? Well, the manufacturer is Packet Video, and the model is, or the name, actual service that this NAS hard drive also provides is Twonky Media Server. The factory installed version that comes with this untainted NAS hard drive is version 5.1.9. So this is the version if you bought the hard drive first hand, so from a retailer or second hand, but of course the previous user or owner hasn't tweaked with it, so this will be the original actual version per se. This is where the web administration IP page is located, and this version is a very outdated one, but of course you do have an OM license for Twonky 5, so if you want to upgrade it, I think the current version is 8.4. The upgrade costs somewhere between $15 to $20. I never used Twonky Media Server. Maybe you will want to use it. I didn't, but nevertheless, what is Twonky Media Server? Well, it's a DLNA compliant universal plug-and-play audio video server software from this company, Packet Video. And TMS server is used to share and stream media content to most UPnP audio video or DLNA compliant clients. So let's say smart TVs, for instance. You can use this server to share or stream your media for such devices. So as I've said it, you can upgrade the default 5.1.9 version to, let's say, 8.4 version if you want to. And how do we go about it? Well, I already prepared a website for this, and this is where you can find the instructions on how to upgrade the Twonky media server to its latest version. This website is pretty much golden when it comes to older, well, also newer models of Western Digital network drives. It is very good, well focused on older models like this one that I'm making video presentation on, therefore my book World Edition White Light, but it also has a subforum for the older model, Blue Rings Edition. It also has information on how to tweak the MyBook Live, and of course for the newest, I dare to say, crappy model or edition, the MyCloud type of NAS hard drive. So here you will find all the instructions on how to go about it in terms of upgrade. So be sure to check it out. And here you have where you can buy the license key for your upgraded latest Twonky media server if you wish. If you won't be needing the latest version of the Twonky media server or TMS, then just disregard this part of the video. We're just going to take a quick glimpse at the web administration page for the TMS. So the IP administration page is accessible, available. Let's look at the settings. If you can set them perfect, everything is possible. Well, I'm not going to go through all of the settings. You can read that in the user manual or browse the internet, look up on that forum that I showed you previously on the website for hacking my book World Edition. I just wanted to show you that even though the hard drive is upgraded from the default 1 terabyte model, that all the functions that were available under the older lower capacity still work if you decide to upgrade your hard drive. Nothing is disabled, so that pretty much works. So now we're just going to close everything, and again we're going to go back to this icon again, open it up, and this time we're actually going to go through the next part of this presentation. Now this is the main actual administration page where you will actually be accessing the NAS hard drive and making the crucial adaptations, setting credentials and other tasks in order to tailor this NAS hard drive to your requirements. Of course, the welcoming screen is a little different. It's a nice bluish color, and here I can show you that you have 9 available languages through which you can enjoy the entire experience to the language that is much closer to you. And here you have basically 3 options through which you can set your NAS hard drive. Network Storage Manager, this is the main, you could say, option. And then of course you also have a downloader and copy manager. I can mention at this point that the credentials for copy manager and network storage manager are the same, meaning that the username and the password is the same. So for network storage manager, the username is admin and password is the same, and that is also the same for copy manager. While for downloader, the username is downloader and the password is the same as the username. But for this part of the presentation, I'm just going to quickly cover Copy Manager and Downloader. The Network Storage Manager function will be described much more thoroughly in part 4, when I'll be hooking up this NAS hard drive directly onto my network router or router modem. So when it will actually be connected to the internet, but I will be still accessing it wirelessly through a series of routers that are on my network, one being of course a wireless one. So now I'm just going to firstly log into Copy Manager to show you that it's also available, it works. So we're going to log into it. And we're just going to copy this and paste it into the password field. This part of the web administration is focused on the function of the NAS drive, which has on the back side, which I've showed you in part 1 and also in part 2, the USB 2.0 expansion port. So that's, of course, that's why also it is called Copy Manager. So the function of this submenu is, so you can, for instance, copy folders. It's focused on folders. You can copy folders from, let's say, your NAS hard drive to your, if you have it connected through the USB expansion port, to your USB external hard drive. So let's say if I had another 2 terabyte USB 2.0 Western Digital external hard drive, and I wanted to copy a folder from the NAS hard drive to my external one, I would use this function, the Copy Manager. And of course here you have the root folders that are currently available on the NAS hard drive. I also have private, which I've made manually and has certain credentials, so I couldn't mount it in the previous part of this presentation. But the function also works vice versa. So let's say that you want to copy certain folders on your external hard drive and you want to copy them to your NAS hard drive, to the root of the NAS drive or in some of its subsequent folders. This is how you would go about it. And you can also check under logs what folders or files have been copied. Of course, nothing has been done on this NAS hard drive because I don't have an external hard drive to show you that. And what you've also noticed is that the help has become available. Previously, when you were on the main web administration page, it was grayed out. Now it is available, so you can click on it and it will just show you or summarize what I've already told you about what is the function of the Copy Manager. We're going to log out of this submenu part of the web administration, and next we're going to go into let's see, yeah, and then we're going to go into Downloader. So for Downloader, as I've mentioned previously, the username is Downloader and not admin. So again, copying it and pasting it into the password field. The downloader part of the NAS hard drive, its function is, well, as you can see from the options available here, it enables you to, for instance, download torrents or other files that you're transferring via the file transfer protocol or the HTTP directly onto your NAS hard drive. and you have various options on how you can limit or regulate traffic and the likes. Let's have a look. Yeah, as I mentioned, you can set the download speed and various other parameters. Yeah, so pretty much also the same for cTorrent. And of course, if you're ever confused, you can use the help button to help you navigate. So everything is explained. So again, also this part of the submenu or function of the NAS hard drive is also accessible, available with the new upgraded internal capacity storage. We're going to log out. Now I'm just going to again show you the final time for this part of part 3 presentation. Again, the hard drive is the same that I'm using. Let me just zoom out. So I'm not cheating anyone or faking it. This is real and it works. I have pretty much finished part 3 of this video presentation. What I'm just going to briefly show you is the submenu of Network Storage Manager, which is also the main menu of the web administration, where you can actually do the necessary changes, modifications, tweaks to your NAS hard drive in order to tailor it to your needs. And afterwards, we'll see you in part 4. So let's just quickly log into. And this is how it looks like. You have the basic mode and the advanced mode. Help option or menu is also available. I always use advanced mode, and that gives you way more options for you to have a look at or tweak. But this part will be thoroughly more discussed in part 4, when I'll be connecting the NAS hard drive finally to the router and of course to the internet via that LAN cable that I mentioned in a little while ago. You can see it behind there. Yeah, it's right over there. So I'll be doing that in part 4. This is just a quick glimpse on how it looks like. And after part 4, there might be another video of sort of a summarization, but I cannot promise that. I think I've been already long enough on this entire presentation. So for now, this is David signing off, and we'll see you in part 4. Stay tuned.